Hey spuddies, PotatoMcWhiskey here and welcome to Let's Play Moonlighter. Now, I just saw the trailer for this game today and I figured, what the hell, let's play it. It looked pretty interesting. I loved the art style, I loved the game concept, and I kind of played a game like this a few years ago, I want to say. It was called Reciteer or something like that. So I do have a game started. I did spend just a few minutes, I'd say about like half an hour or something like that, just getting the hang of the controls and the basic game mechanics, so I didn't go into the game completely blind. I also went through the options menu and did that sort of thing. But let's get started. We're going to start a new game on hard. Not on very hard. I mean, I kind of want to play on very hard, but I also kind of want to be able to just kind of screw around a little bit. Among the stars of the night, there is a land as old as imagination. One night, mazes full of extraordinary treasures and deadly creatures appeared in this land. They called them the dungeons, strange, ever-changing ruins of unknown lands. Soon a village of the slightly curious took root near the dungeons. This they named Rhinoka. Among the settlers, two groups shined brightest: heroes and merchants, glory and riches. But the dungeons proved too dangerous. They were soon closed as too many lives were lost in their depths. Life became hard for the town, especially for the young owner of the oldest shop, Will of Moonlighter. Long dreaming of opening the mysterious fifth door of the dungeons, and there we go, that's the intro cinematic. Let's get going. I am using a controller from this. This is my Steam controller. I love having an excuse to use this thing because it's a really wonderful piece of hardware. But here we go. This is a game. I think it looks absolutely wonderful. The art style is just, it has this beautiful retro feel, but this absolutely wonderful weight to it. And like the scenery is destructible and all that sort of great stuff. This is sort of an introductory, not exactly cinematic, it's sort of like the tutorial, where, you know, you can fall down holes and you'll lose 5 HP, but you can also roll over holes. So this is kind of teaching you how to use your dodge roll mechanic. What else? Oh yeah, this enemy will hurt me if I walk into him, like that. So what I need to do is dodge through him. Basic stuff. And similarly, these enemies will continue to fire, so I need to roll through their attacks. And you can't be hurt while you're rolling, but you can be hurt at the start and end of the roll. So that's something you have to watch out for. This room teaches you the combat mechanics. You can see there's a little potion there. I picked it up. And some of the stuff you can do, you can break pots. And then the right trigger is for using potions. You break pots and get little potions, and we want to kill these guys. Oh, he's going to hit me. Actually, the first time I did this, I didn't manage to get hit. But there you are. And you kind of, you have destructible terrain. It's kind of like, has a little bit of a Legend of Zelda kind of a feel. You go through dungeons. Now, they are procedurally generated dungeons. They're not hand built. And we also have a secondary attack with the broom, which is like this charge up attack. Like so. Now, I got hit a couple of times there because I lined it up poorly, but all things being the same, we also have a couple of little chests here that we can open up. I'm going to quick move. Oh, that was not what I meant to do. What I'm actually going to do here is go into my I can't go into my inventory. Right. So what I want to do is I want to make sure I preserve these. Now, I have a little bit of foreknowledge. And that I know these two items are actually worth more than the branches and vines and the goop. So I'm going to kind of hide those in my lesser backpack inventory because that stuff is not worth quite as much. There's a little bit. I'll heal up as well. And so this is a scripted sequence. The first time I came into this room, I tried to stay alive for as long as possible, but there doesn't seem to be much point. You pretty much die in here no matter what. These enemies spawn infinitely and will continue to spawn. I imagine there's probably like an achievement for staying alive for a certain amount of time. But we're just going to die. They'll spawn forever and kill you. But it is a really cool introduction to the game. And we drop all of our equipment and stuff like that weren't saved in our inventory as far as I can tell. Got kicked out of the dungeon. And this man runs along. Well, I say run. Xenon, what a sorry looking kid. all alone now. Rest for a bit, Will. I have you now. So we get saved by the old man. Look, just look at the graphics and the art style. I think it's very evocative of the old Legend of Zelda games. Even as a mere child, barely able to walk, where you're curious of the dungeons. And so we have these diagrams and questions. There was no doubt you carried the same obsession as old Pete. Morning, boy. Did our little merchant bite off more than he could manage? Will, listen to me. The hard truth is this. You are the last of your family, the only one left to run Moonlighter. You can't keep pushing yourself like this. Risking your life on the fifth door is nonsense and foolish, or is on the fifth door nonsense is foolish, just leave it. Find some artifacts, then use your pendant to get out of the dungeon. And for credit's sake, stop using that broom of yours, you daft boy. It's dangerous to go alone. Take this. Legend of Zelda reference there. Very nice. It's mine from back in the day. Use it. I have little need for it now. And he's going to give us a training sword and shield that we can use to fight our way through the dungeon. Now then, get up. You are wasting light. Can't have you neglect the shop all day. Let's see if I can get through to your hard head some of the tricks that I picked up from your grandfather so many years ago. So we're going to be learning about how to run the actual shop now, and it's really cool because there's a lot of upgrades you can do. You can upgrade the shop, you can upgrade the till, and do all sorts of fun stuff like that. So he's going to ask me to open the shop. Successfully selling your merchandise takes knowledge of two things. You must know an item's value as well as its demand. Come now, open the shop and allow the customers in. So I can place things later, but not right now. So I'll open the shop door. I'll go stand by the counter. This guy's going to come in. He's going to pick up that golem crystal. So the little smiley face there indicates that they were happy with the price. And we'll sell that to them and get $100 dues. Did you see that? Best expression you can hope for. The item wasn't too expensive for them, and so not so cheap for you to lose profit. Be sure to pay attention to your customers' expressions. That's how your grandfather always knew if his prices were fair. I think it's a very neat little game mechanic. I'm a big fan. This guy comes in. I don't think I need to tell you that item was obviously overpriced, so he was a little bit less happy with the price. Finally, be careful of selling popular items too much. If you flood the market, you will have to offer cheaper prices on your wares. Point is, charge higher when something is in high demand and in low supply. Take out your merchant notebook. It should hold all the information you have gathered on discovered wares and artifacts. So I want to press Y here, and then it's right trigger. And then you can see here the crystallized energy has a price thing. You can see 200 is too high, 100 is just right. Now I think you can actually go up a little bit higher than 100. You can go up to like 130. It would seem that the sun has fallen for the day. I'd best head off. You will pick up more on your own. Restoring this shop to its full glory. That's responsibility falls on you, not I. It's in your blood, Will. Make us proud. In the meantime, why don't you try out that new sword of yours? Dungeons are more perilous at night, but one can always find better artifacts. Just don't dive too far and use that pendant, boy. We'll learn more about the pendant in a moment. Go on now, these weary bones of mine must rest. So basically, you can kind of, like, there's a little town here you can explore around. I haven't figured out if there's like a map button, but pretty much every door leads to the dungeons, which is interesting. There's people we can talk to during the daytime, like there's this guy here. Massa, Will, can we play tag next time I stop by your shop? Here is Redmond. Massa, my son, when I find you. Oh, Will, have you seen Massa around by any chance? And this is Tomo. Will, I saw you in the Golem Dungeon earlier. Found anything mysterious? There's all cool people around here, and some of the other things that we can do. We can talk to people. We'll talk to this guy over here. Maury, have you found any new culture artifacts in the dungeons, Will? I always found it fascinating how all the items you find in the dungeons appear to be from entirely different civilizations with unique cultures. A lot of heroes are always looking to craft better weapons and armor. They buy a lot of foundry rests, iron bars, and teeth stones. I'd keep that in your mind for your shop, Will. So we can use those to make armor as well later, but we can also sell them two adventurers because they want to buy them. The people of Rhinoc are so accustomed to cultural artifacts from the dungeons, they have become part of our daily lives, even a part of our food. You can create the perfect merchant burger. Bon appetit! Can I talk to you? I do miss some of the recipes created from artifacts found in the closed dungeons. It's nearly impossible to find the ingredients now. And there's like a few things here, but we're going to go back up to the dungeon. Like I said, all roads lead to the dungeon. There's only the town and the dungeon area. And this is sort of the 5 dungeons. This first dungeon is the Golem Dungeon, which is open to us. Golem Dungeon, dungeon available to merchants and heroes. Then there is the Forest Dungeon, dungeon available to hero, not recommended for merchants. Then there is the Tech Dungeon, no entry, you're not allowed in there. And then there is the Desert Dungeon, only for heroes. So I imagine that has something to do with progression. But here is the Golem Dungeon, which we were just in, which we just kind of technically died in, I suppose. We're going to jump in here and see if we can't get ourselves some loot to sell in the shop. So the basic premise of the game is that what you want to do is you want to go to the dungeons at nighttime, and then you want to sell items in your shop during the day and kind of go through that gameplay loop. We have our sword and shield now, so our special attack is different. We block attacks with our X key, and we do a 3-hit combo with our A key. So we should be able to show off a little bit of that. 1, 2, 1, 2. Oh, he actually hit me there. It was a bit unfortunate. But you can see the third hit does double damage, which I think is actually kind of cool. Incentivizes you to chain attacks together. These guys are actually rather easy to defeat, because you can just hit them and roll away. Another thing you can do is actually roll past them and hit them in the back. That's kind of like a fun little thing. This guy makes it a little bit more complicated. Alright, so he dropped actually pretty good loot. Those metal bars are really nice. These guys are stationary firing mobs. Let's go ahead and head through some of these doors. Okay, you guys look familiar. So it's mostly about timing and positioning. The combat doesn't seem too complicated, at least at these early stages. Okay, so we found a room. Okay, to a person of hopefully far better luck than I, my time is short. I took an entry from the strange creature across the room. My pendant all but shattered from the scuffle. Check him out though. I'd say I fared better than he. He caught me spying on him near the Guardian's room. He dropped a couple of items when he fled, one of which is this map diagram. Whatever it is, I was right. They called me crazy, said old Crazy Pete done gone lost his marbles, but I was right. Each Guardian of a dungeon possesses a key of some sort. All of them are linked to the giant locked dungeon door outside the dungeons, the 5th door of Rhinoca. Sadly, I won't be around to see them open. To whoever found me, I apologize for the smell, but the diagram should be around here somewhere. Please, open the 5th door of Rhinoca. These dungeons are not what they seem. We'll pick up a bit of loot here, we'll read this. Big boss gonna kill me, I suppose to let them all out. Now have to chase this weird creature that stole all my stuffs. Big boss gonna be so upset with little me. And so this is some sort of map of some kind. So we can kind of see where the game is going here. It's establishing we need to defeat the bosses of all 4 of these dungeons in order to open the 5th dungeon, which is, fairly standard stuff. Nothing out of the ordinary so far. And now we can spend some money on our special token bag over here. And that will teleport us out of the dungeon. And we will teleport out with all of our loot. You can see here that it's going to cost us 200. I think the deeper into the dungeon you go, the more it costs to teleport out. So you want to make sure you're getting value. You don't want to go deep into the dungeon and not really get anything. So we actually picked up a fairly decent amount of stuff there. It's not bad at all. Not a bad haul. Alright, so we'll go talk to the Zevon, I think his name was. Old man, basically. His name is Old Man. Zenon. The young proprietor of the Moonlighter has returned. You look intact, finally learned to use that pendant properly. It's about time, boy. What are you holding? Is that the chart of the dungeons? Where did you get this? You found old Pete dead. See? This is what happens when you chase what's behind that door. Leave it, Will. Just get the artifacts you need from the Golem Dungeon and look after Moonlighter. Now, I noticed some posts on the town board that may be of interest to you. Some shops want to move in, attempt to revitalize this town. Apparently they need some startup capital first. Would be nice to see some new life in Rhinoca. Nice indeed. So we can do a little bit of exploration around the town. We can go check out the notice board. So this is... I sort of always wanted to become a merchant, but I could never find a pendant. Most pendants used today were found where the dungeons were first discovered. Since then, finding a new one has become nearly impossible. Boy, Rhinoka has seen better days. When your grandfather first opened the Moonlighter, people from all over the lands would come to visit the shop. The hustle and bustle was constant, but now... the people of Rhinoka are so accustomed... Okay, I've already talked to you. Rhinoka, what a town. I came from the capital just to get one of these culture artifacts. They're extremely popular and can only be found here. So this is the bulletin board. I can invest into the town. The first one you want to get is like either of these two. You can get the Vulcan's Forge, which allows you to craft new weapons and armor. And you can also get the wooden hat, which allows you to get potions and enchantments and stuff like that. We're going to be getting these eventually, probably not in the near future. Redmond, Massa, my son, when I find you... Oh, have you seen Massa around? Okay. But yeah. We've basically talked to all these people. Right now, can maybe with possible USB, so saving there for the Golem Dungeon, possibly the closed dungeons if we're lucky. Alright. So that's the town. Let's go to our shop and sell some things. Now, I happen to know a little bit of advanced knowledge, because I've gotten this far roughly, that these crystals will actually sell quite well at the wonderful price of $120. Pretty comfortably at $120. Now these teeth stones, I'm not sure what their price is. I think I'm just going to set them. They're pretty common, so I'm going to set them at like 10 each, because I'm not sure what the value is on them. And then these vines, I'm thinking something similar. We'll sell 10 for 10. And then these swords, well, actually, I might sell something other than the vines, but the swords I think can go for maybe like 80. Probably 100 easily, actually. But yeah, we're going to sell these. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to sell these golem cores instead of the vines. And I imagine they can sell for at least 120. Now, I don't know if I need to break these up into chunks or whatever, or if it's okay to sell them like this. I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm still kind of figuring out what's going on in this game. But people will come in and I'll be able to figure out whether or not my prices are okay. Really, in the early game, I'm just looking to make a bit of cash. Okay, so it looks like he was happy with that crystal price. He was super happy with that sword price. So that means I sold them too cheap. See if we can sell some other stuff here as well. Sell a few twigs. I'll sell them 5 each. I think that's actually a fairly reasonable price. These iron bars, I think these could go for like 10 each. Maybe 12 each. Okay, he was happy with the golem core price. Let me stick in here these foundry rests. Now, I think these can sell for quite a bit. I think I'm going to put them on for 200. Okay, it's nighttime, so I want to close the shop now, so that I can go into the dungeon. So we sold, 1,500 worth of gear, which is pretty nice. And now the really great thing is we can go into our backpack here and have a look. I want to organize by cheapness. So you can see here, some of these things have sold pretty well. So 200 was too high, 120 was a good price. So we can probably go a little bit higher on that place. 120 was a pretty good price for that. Yeah, these broken swords, I think 100 was a bit low. So I think I might bump those up to like maybe like 150, 160, I think. These could easily be sold for 200, maybe somewhere in the region of like 160 to 200. But yeah, you can see these hardened bars are pretty expensive too. But you can see the price essentially ranges from 1 or 2 down here. These vines are worth 2, so I think my price on those vines are a bit high. But yeah, the price is like 2 all the way down to 3,000 is sort of the scale of the values that we can earn from that dungeon. There's this little thing here that I want to check out. Okay, that's that. And we go put away some of my gear. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. I don't want these things taking up my inventory room while I'm in the dungeon. And then I'll also equip these potions to my potion slot. There we go. And then we'll go hit the dungeons, because the dungeons have better rewards at nighttime. It's the basic premise of the game. We're also going to discover some cool stuff as we go deeper. Interestingly enough, the dungeons have more interesting mechanics and stuff like that the further you go in them. I can't imagine they would just stay the same. Let's see how deep we can go tonight. This is our first real freeform foray into the dungeons. The first one was sort of a scripted outcome, and the second one was also a scripted outcome where we find Pete and then we have to use Dependent to leave. This is where we're truly playing the game. Like, what happens here, everything is a consequence of what we do. And there is no sort of scripted things. Like, we're in the game now. Whereas before we were kind of still in those scripted sequences. Okay. We're picking up some twigs and some vines and crystals. These enemies are kind of, I don't want to say trivial, because I feel like they are just kind of introductory enemies. But they're not, I don't feel challenged much, really. But they do a really great job of sort of introducing you to the mechanics that are going to come relevant as you go deeper into the dungeons. Because, you know, usually what will happen is you'll encounter an enemy on their own first. And then you'll encounter them in the presence of other enemies. So this is an interesting enemy. What it does is it picks up items and then tries to run away with them. And this red slime slows you down and makes it harder to fight. Break that pot. Scoot over there. So we found some sort of knowledge room. Looks like a campsite. Today marks my first steps into these mysterious dungeons. They were discovered not far from Rhinoka, a small and incredibly charming village just north of the crater, and they are quite a unique occurrence. Any number of adventurers may enter the dungeon at once, but no one will be able to adventure together. These dungeons seem to build themselves around the one entering. A unique maze for each person, never the same labyrinth twice. One must ask, though, if no one is currently inside the dungeon, does it even exist? Now these are the questions. Many right now are flooding to these dungeons for their treasure, completely disregarding the inherent dangers of the hostile creatures inside. Just for some gold and some fame. But not I, no. It's all about the questions for me. Where did these dungeons come from? Why do they constantly shift and change? And why are they filled with unseen treasures? I'm not here for the what. I'm here for the how and the why. Cool. I love these little, just these little kind of sprinklings of backstory and intrigue. And, you know, I think they really add to the atmosphere of the game. And it's already, just look at the graphics. It has a very, it's very evocative of games like Legend of Zelda and stuff like that, but it's very clearly its own thing. This is actually a pretty strong version of an enemy we've seen before. Although he is a little bit easy to take care of. Oh, I did get hit there, which is unfortunate. We'll kill him, pick up all his loot, and we'll jump back across. I want to get rid of these flying guys because they can cause problems. Okay, I did some damage to him. Let me get rid of this little dude. Oh, I fell down the hole. That only does 5 damage, which actually isn't too bad. I'll roll through this guy. Now, these guys rotate pretty quickly. So he can actually do damage pretty effectively. I find the best thing to do is just hit him once and then roll away. But sometimes I've been experimenting with going in on them and trying to like do more damage, but more often than not just gets me hit. And so this is another new game mechanic that we're about to run into. So these items, what this means is that they can only be placed on either the top row of slots or the bottom row of slots. So that's really, and there's all sorts of different modifiers that you can get. So if I auto pick these up, they'll only go into the bottom, you see? Now I can manually try to move them, right? I can't put them there, I can't put them there, I can put them up here. So they can only go on the top and the bottom of my inventory. It's a very interesting sort of, not Tetris, but there is a bit of inventory Tetris, but rather, oh Jesus, I forgot these enemies, they slow you down when they grab you, because I was talking. There's a sort of, you know, normally I hate games where you have to do a lot of inventory Tetris, but this game actually makes it into like an engaging sort of, no, there's a game mechanic here, whereas in most games we have to do inventory Tetris, like Terraria, or, Minecraft, or survival games in general, it's just tedium, right? It's just this busybody work that the game is making you do just because it's like over encumbered by its item system. Whereas this game, they made that like a game mechanic with like sub mechanics and intrigue, and you have to kind of figure out, okay, well, which items do I really want to bring with me because I'm trying to sell these items. And not only that, but these items have special modifiers, like these items can only go on the right or left of the bag. So now I'm playing like multiple layers of gameplay. I'm not just caring about, okay, which items are the highest value. I'm trying to figure out, okay, which items are the highest value and can I bring home with the sort of slot restrictions that come with those items. It's a very... I'm a big fan of the mechanic. I think it's really cool. I'm pretty sure only loot that comes from chests will have this sort of restriction on it. And you can see, because this has the same restriction, it can be stacked on top of my other swords. But now you can see I'm out of my bottom row, so I'm going to have to start using my top row. But I already have so many items that I'm going to have to start thinking about, what am I going to throw away if I get any more of those top or, you know, those slot restricted items. So this is like, now, I don't know this for sure, but this is like what I'm suspecting, that this is like a portal to the forest dungeon where I can get sort of forest items early. Maybe not many, but just a little bit. And I happen to know that these guys are fairly easy to kill. So now I have to make a hard decision about what kind of item am I going to keep or throw away. Now, I already have a stack of 10 sticks, so I'm going to... Oh, how do I throw away an item? No, I can't throw away items yet, I guess. I think there's a thing I need to do before I can throw away items, and I'll show you that in a moment. You'll see that soon. I guess I could have cleaned out my inventory better or managed it a little bit better. This is the Fountain of Healing. I've come across this before. Read. Why? Why do our tools keep disappearing? Chambers full of precious stone are left untouched, but rooms, chests holding our most basic tools keep vanishing. So it's another interesting little bit of backstory there. Oh, this is actually... I don't know if I would call this a tough room, but it's certainly a dense room in terms of the number of creatures in it. There's a high density of the monsters. Okay, that little piece of iron just ran off into the middle of nowhere. Alright. Let's not question that too much. You can dodge diagonally. You can dodge in any cardinal direction, essentially, including the diagonals. I don't know, did I count as a cardinal direction? I'm not sure. It's a relatively simple room. Oh, he says as he gets hit by the only enemy in the room that can't actually attack. There we go. It looks like we have no more room. And so this kind of green portal-y doorway basically means we've reached another floor of the dungeon. It's really cool. And I also happen to know that when you reach a new floor of the dungeon, you will get a new little tool here. So this is one of the strange devices that the creature dropped when he fled. This one's rich, actually. Almost quite literally rich. For every item you place into this device, gold of some perceived value drops out. It's great if you need to use your pendant in a pinch. The device looks like a mirror, so I'm just going to call it the mirror, keeping it simple. I do wonder, though, where do the treasures dropped inside go, and am I getting the best deal here? So this is essentially a way to sort of clean out your inventory of items that you might not want, or that you already have a surplus of. So basically you input items to get gold out, and I'll kind of show you how that works now. Let me open up this. We'll go a little bit deeper into the dungeon. Like if I plop these 4 branches in here, out comes 4 gold. And the value of the amount, like the amount of gold you'll get out of it, depends on the item that you put in. Higher value items will give you more. So this is kind of like that other enemy that we fought, but only he has a shield. So you have to kind of dodge through him and then attack his back. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, the enemies on this floor are a little bit harder. So you need to keep that in mind. I think I'm going to... Oh, I can't do that while I'm fighting. We can kill that guy. So let me sell this toothstone. That got me 1 gold. And I'm pretty sure these crystals are worth more than that, right? Yeah, they're worth 30 each, so they're worth 30 times in the thing. I'm going to use a health potion here. And... oh, I need to... get away, get away, get away, get away! This enemy is very obnoxious. I can see him being very difficult to deal with in conjunction with bigger enemies. So this is... here's another new unique mechanic. Okay, so this item, these foundry rests, will destroy one item when in the direction that I placed them. So, where I want to put this, I want to put this in the bottom left-hand corner. But I have no room in the bottom left-hand corner because I need to move these up to here. Because these have to be on the top row. And you can kind of see what I'm talking about when I'm talking about this inventory Tetris that you have to play. There's this whole game mechanic that I'm just a big fan of. So I need to place this over here in the bottom left-hand corner so that it doesn't destroy any items. Now, I could probably put it anywhere in the bottom row, but the bottom left-hand corner is just the best move, it seems. And similarly, this golden bar, or iron bar rather, will do something similar. It'll destroy an item in the top left-hand corner. So I'm going to put these in here. I'll get 2 gold for them. And I happen to know that these hardened steel bars are worth more than those vines, so I'm happy to make that trade. Similarly, do I have any other cheap items that I could maybe get rid of? Well, I'm thinking this one fabric is probably worth 4, like less than the 4 unidentified things. So I may as well get rid of one piece of fabric, and I'll bring these back in. Okay, now my inventory is... Oh, I left one behind. My inventory is getting pretty full here, so I'm kind of tempted to go back to town and sort of offload my wares. Wait a minute. Why is it being weird? These should stack together. Oh, well, I guess I messed it up. Alright, whatever. I guess we learned a lesson there. Don't destack those. Alright, here's a healing fountain, so we can continue to explore a little bit here. We might be able to find some higher value items. Now, you can pretty much leave whenever you want, but if you are getting hit, your thing won't work. So that's something you need to keep in mind. A little bit of stuff here. Ooh, okay, yeah, so these guys are a little bit tougher than I'm used to. You can see the enemies have these little squares above their health bars. That indicates that they're like a slightly higher level or something. Or they're sort of like a higher rank. You can see those pieces of floor will disappear. And it looks like this is the way to the next floor. I'm not going to go to the next floor just yet. I'm actually going to just bounce out of the dungeon. Because I have a lot of loot. I want to sell it off. So let's go to town. Let's head into our shop. So I'm thinking this item is of pretty low value, so I'm thinking I might put my swords in there. And I think I'm going to up their price to 150. Similarly, I'm going to put my crystals in there instead, because these are higher value. I happen to know that. I'm going to put them up to 125. I feel like that's a pretty good price for those. Now the hardened steel bars, I'm not going to mess around with. Oh, this, now this I know is actually quite valuable because I sold it before. I think I can get at least like 300 for that. Let me just double check that I've got that right. Yeah, probably around 300 would be a good price. So now we can open the shop and see if some of these predictions about the price of things is right. We have a chest here. We have a chest here. I'm going to input all my items in here. And that'll stack them up and do all that sort of stuff. And you can kind of see, you know, we can use these items for other things later. Yeah, we've got a fairly good haul, actually. So let's see if we can sell some stuff. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. I meant to open the shop and have customers come in. So I'll see if I'm selling these things for a good price. So he's happy with that crystal price. Happy with the stone price. Yeah, I'll happily sell those to you. Seems like he was relatively happy with the sword price too. Let's see if we can get a few more wares here. Let's go ahead and I guess we could sell these water spheres. let's sell some iron. Let's sell some empowering crystals. Let's sell some ancient pots. Yeah. Now, where do they come in the valuation sphere? So they're actually fairly low in value. I imagine I could sell them for like 100 each, no problem. So 100 seems like a decent value for them. Then I want to have a look at some of these other ones. What else is in here? Now, those empowering crystals are actually pretty high on this list, right? Or are they pretty low on the list? No, they're pretty low on the list. Okay, so how much could I sell those for? Wait. They're not on the list. Where are they? What? Where's the empowering crystal? Did I miss it? Am I blind? I don't think I missed it. Did I miss it? Or is it from a different dungeon, perhaps? Am I... What? Did I just miss what they're for, maybe? Alright, maybe I just missed them. Alright, whatever. We'll sell these iron as well. And I'm thinking, you know, call that 5 as a good price for them. I'll sell these for 100. 100's a pretty good price, and we'll see if anyone wants to buy these. I guess my things are a little bit too expensive. She's going to buy them anyway, so that's 1,000 gold. Hell yeah. They were pretty happy with those crystal prices and the pot prices. I'm selling crystals on pot. What kind of shop is this? Alright, let's quickly see if we can go and close this shop and it be nighttime. Alright, so it's nighttime. We sold off a bunch of gear. Great income. We're not selling any of these iron things, so let me pull these off the shelves. I think I'm better off selling the higher tier equipment rather than these low tier iron things. I'm probably better off just kind of like shuffling those into the recycler and then focusing on selling these sort of like stuff like the foundry rests, the hardened steel, water orb lenses, broken swords, all that sort of jazz. Now, there is another mechanic that I do need to keep in mind, and that is the whole like popularity and demand. Like if I look here, ancient pots are in high demand, crystallized energy are in high demand, golem cores are into high demand, broken swords are in high demand, foundry rests are in neutral demand. You can see the foundry rests at 200, it's a little bit expensive for them. So I might be like 180 would be a good price for those. People were very happy with some of my prices though. You can kind of figure out what the good prices are. It's a really cool little system. I'm a big fan of the game so far. I'm really enjoying it. Let's go ahead and go to the dungeon. Now, before I go to the dungeon, I'm actually going to open up the 2 shops just so I can kind of show them off. So we're going to buy Vulcan's Forge. Basically, people want to open up a shop here in Rhinoka, but they need like this little bit of a money investment to get them started. So I'm sort of helping rebuild the town by investing into these new shops. So this is going to be the Forge where you can buy weapons and armor, and I'll kind of show you how that works here in a bit. All right. So there's that. Investments. I want to invest into the wooden hat because I want to get potions and enchantments. This guy will come along and sort of build it up a little bit. And then there's a new shop. Excellent. I'll go talk to them in a moment. So we got our 2 shops open in the first episode, which is pretty good. Now, we probably don't have enough money to really buy much here. Hey, you must be Will, no, the one who requested my forge. My name is Andre, Forge Master Extraordinaire. Andre, if it's weapons or armor you seek, Vulcan's Forge is the place. So, you can see here we can make stuff like fabric bandanas. It requires fabric forge rests. It requires water orbs. It gives me 30 defense. And it will give me +8 movement speed, I think that is. That's 30 health, sorry. And then you can sort of upgrade them through tiers and stuff like that. Now, I could make this, it's 4,000 gold though. Pretty expensive. Equipment is pretty damn expensive. I will want to get equipment eventually, but for now, I need to kind of save up my cash. I would like to upgrade my weapons here, because getting up to plus 40... Getting up to the plus 50 damage rather than the plus 20 that I have right now would be quite nice. Now, I'm kind of tempted to go down the elemental route, but I don't know. I might just go for the sort of straight damage route. You know, it depends on what I find, really. I'm also really interested in trying out some of these other things. Like, I need some broken swords and vines to make the big swords. I can make a spear. Ooh, I'm really excited, actually. I want to make a spear. I kind of really want to make a spear. Ooh, do I want to make a spear? I really want to make a spear. Like, right now. Gloves, I could make claw gloves, I could make bows and arrows. Oh, that actually... I think a bow and arrow, actually, I feel like I need to make that. I didn't actually see this before. Now I'm going to craft the training bow. Let me equip that now in my secondary slot. So you have like this broom spear, which is interesting. And now I have a bow and arrow. That's really cool. I can shoot trees. Oh, that's awesome. Can I shoot people? What happens if I shoot you? Damn it. Let me shoot you! Okay, nothing happens. And there's a special attack? Oh, I can charge up an attack. So when you flash white, that's when you want to let go. That's cool. Can I fire diagonally? No, you can only shoot, it seems like in the cardinal directions. Anyway, we've got a sword and a shield and a bow and arrow. Let's go check out this other shop. This is really cool. I hadn't actually seen this stuff, so I'm kind of experiencing new stuff here. I've never had this shop either. Eris, ... Oh, a customer! My apologies, it's just this book. It's so good. Okay, yes, I'm Eris, Weaver, a potion master. Come to the Wooden Hat when you need a potion or enchantment. What do you want to craft today? I want to craft a potion. Okay, so I need jelly to make these HP potions. So it's cheaper if I use my materials, and it looks like there's higher tier jellies. Reveals the Golem Dungeon map upon use. Okay, fireflies will guide the use of the next floor of the Golem Dungeon. Reveals the Forest Dungeon. Okay, so cool. I tell you what, how many potions do I have? I have no potions. I tell you what, I'll craft 5 potions. Let's make yeah. Just so we have the potions that we need. And let's actually have a look at enchantments as well. Oh, cool. Oh, empowering crystals. Ah, I see. So they're not dungeon specific. Those are for leveling up your gear. Ah, okay. Okay, so they give me extra damage on these weapons. That's really cool. Oh man, I love the weapon variety in this game and stuff like that. Let me equip that. RB, quick equip. I think I'm going to put my... Well, you know what? I'm going to put my spear away in the shop real quick. And you know what, actually? I think I'm going to try to set this series to be about 40 minutes an episode, and we're just about there. So I'm going to put this away in my... Here, I think I'm going to put equipment in this one. I'm going to put this here and then call that an end to this episode. Yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying this game so far. Please remember to subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. Remember to leave a like if you want to directly support my channel. And remember to leave a comment if you want to give me your feedback. Other than that, though, I want to say I love you all very much. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.